I feel like what happens is we get a lot of women who have been abused by men who, like I said, they get abused by men, and then when they get the microphone, they want to talk about the damaging issues of what they call toxic masculinity. And I just don't think that's fair for a woman like that to have a voice to talk about something in a healthy way.
Yeah,
because that she's not in a healthy frame of mind.
Right. Everybody, welcome back to our channel. This person made a comment. I screenshot it. I thought it was interesting.
What did it say?
He says, I think it kind of tied into what we're going to talk about today a little bit, but he said, I think getting married is a good thing. The thing that is annoying about women is that they are so attention-seeking, emotional, and needy. Why is that?
Well, I mean, women are emotional.
Yeah, that's the other part.
Women are emotional by nature,
right?
But I do think there's an unhealthy balance of emotion,
right? So
when men say that, I agree with the fact that women are overly emotional, but not in a healthy way. Like there are women. As a woman, I am an emotional person,
right?
But I don't.
That won't change.
Yeah, that's never going to change. But I do think there's an unhealthy amount of emotion, and I think a lot of it has to do with the internet and needing to feel validated a lot, and needing men to validate you.
Yeah.
And that I think is what most men are seeing. They're seeing
the unhealthy balance
of women, and again, I think that feminism brought this on.
Yeah.
To give women some sort of power, but I don't think women are, in my opinion, I know a lot of women are going to disagree with this, but I don't think women are supposed to be in power positions that we're in because it's causing us to be emotionally unbalanced.
It's that shift in role, the dramatic shift in role that we're seeing, I think it has kind of messed up the balance with masculine and feminine.
Yeah.
And so what we're seeing is an overage of both. So now you see there's either women who are super duper masculine and a takeover kind of attitude, and then there's women who are on the other end of the spectrum. There's too much too, where they're too needy, too attention seeking. So what's his name? Lionel.
He's right.
Lionel's the one who wrote this. His name's Lionel. Thanks for the comment. But I do on some level do agree with you. There are a lot of women out here that are, like Kara was saying, attention seeking. A lot of it does have to do with the internet and the need for validation. So they, like I can go on the internet and post something and not feel like I need to have 5 million hearts. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm not even that much on. I'm not even on the internet.
I think even like
that,
in real life, I think the idea that women are in a place right now where we're supposed to be everything successful, I think it causes an unhealthy balance. I'm not just talking about internet, I'm talking about just in real life when men date. Yeah. I think that women are looking at men as though if they could speak, their emotions could speak, they'll go, am I right? Am I doing good?
Yeah.
Is this what you like?
They need
Am I appropriate? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, do you like me?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's what they would say. But I think that the problem is that we've put so much pressure on ourselves to be everything that it actually made us more emotionally off.
I think that's
because we're also not getting what we need. When you act masculine, you're not. When you act masculine and you're a feminine person, that means you're not getting something because you're portraying something.
Right.
So we need masculinity. So if we're acting masculine, what we're going to attract is feminine men. And then when we don't get what we need from them, then we act out in unhealthy ways.
Right.
And the same with men. A lot of men who are extra feminine or metrosexual, whatever you want to call it, they again they're not getting what they need either.
Right.
Because they're acting like women. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's just it's a weird time.
The balance is Lionel, you're right. I mean, right. When it comes to the emotional part of women, it's important.
This is most.
I think it's important for like men to. I think this is where the kind of disconnect sometimes comes with men and women. Is that the thing is that overly emotional women, there's something wrong with her, right? But the idea of a woman just being emotional in general is not going anywhere.
But that's also not wrong. Women being emotional, that's what I'm saying. Being a woman that's emotional is not wrong. That's just part of who we are. That's just part of
our makeup. But when a woman is overly emotional, I do think that there's an imbalance. Something's going on with her to be, crying all the time, always mad at something, always going off on somebody. You know what I mean? That's someone who's acting out.
I also think that a lot of women don't know that they because of the way that they've been told to be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're supposed to be this, you're supposed to be that these days. That women actually don't, maybe, especially some younger women, maybe just don't know that they are, why they're so emotional. Like they don't get that they're not getting something. They think that the way that they're acting is correct.
Yeah.
Because all the women around them that they see are acting this way.
Right.
So when they don't get what they want from men, they may not even know why they feel that way.
Yeah, that's probably, yeah, I mean, it's true.
You know,
there's an imbalance there. You know, so there's when you're not balanced, this is kind of what happens. You just kind of aimlessly walk through life, not understanding why you are the way you are, and then that's when people start jumping from relationship to relationship.
Like you showed me a video earlier of a guy doing his girlfriend's or wife's hair.
Yeah, he was flat ironing her hair.
He was flat ironing her hair, and she was
videotaping
acting like some sort of prima donna, like
look. I think the caption.
Look what I can get a man to do.
Yeah, the caption she wrote on there was she wrote the things that he does for me. This is what the caption said.
So now
she's dancing. She's dancing and being kind of like Instagrammy. While he's flat ironing her hair, and this is where we're at now. When that to me is just. I mean, everybody.
So the portrayal is that men are supposed to be subservient to us.
Yeah,
like they're supposed to, cater to us, like paint our nails, do our hair, pay our bills. And we don't. I think we don't understand that is a very ugly woman.
Yeah.
But she doesn't notice that she's acting that way because I'm sure she, because you saw it, so that means that she probably went viral or something.
Yeah.
So because she went viral and so many women probably liked that video, that she's being validated by other women that you are the woman to be.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so I do think that this is why I kind of, I think we should just let feminism go. We should just burn it. It's done. You know what I mean? We are not.
It's ran its course. It's really kind of over.
There is no imbalance. You know what I mean? It's just we simply, as men and women, want different things. I don't believe women really want to be this way. I think women are just portraying a certain ideology that's been passed around for the last 40, 50 years. Yeah. That women are supposed to be this.
There's a sheepish kind of mentality that's going on with women right now. Where they're just following the crowd. So that's what we're seeing now. And that's, just kind of like following the crowd instead of just trying to get down to who you are as a woman. So, like for me as a woman, I would never, the fact that I like being emotional because I know that makes me a woman. That makes me, I feel grounded as a woman knowing that I have that part of me. If you find a woman who is not emotional, then you have found a really damaged woman. You know what I mean? Because women, that's how we kind of, that's our, it's somewhat of our guide. Men have more logic. So that's your guide, right? So women have more emotion. So we do things with our heart first. That's how we kind of navigate through life. It's more of like our compass. So a healthy emotional woman that has that as her emotional, like her compass, that's a healthy woman, But when you get the ones who are angry and they're using their emotions in more of an abusive type way, that's when we kind of you're treading in the wrong direction.
Yeah.
Because in the beginning, I think getting married is a good thing.
I think
getting married is a good thing.
Should get married.
Lionel, I do believe that getting married is a good thing.
I think Matt Walsh said it well. He said marriage gives men he said it gives women protection and it gives men responsibility.
Yeah.
And he was like, because men need that. Men need to be in charge and they need to be in charge of a family. You know what I mean? He said, so it gives us, he was saying about men, he said it gives us the responsibility that we need to grow up.
Yeah.
He's just because otherwise men remain boys.
Yeah.
If they don't have that responsibility.
I think you're right. You have a point.
I think Lionel's right.
Yeah, you're right. And I'm, like I said, women these days are kind of annoying. I'm not going to sit up here in front. Like there's a lot of annoying women. There also is a lot of really good women out there. You know what I mean? There are really good women out there, but I think that it's the social media has really put forward the other women.
Well, it's like being a black Democrat or a black Republican. You know what I mean? You don't want to say it out loud.
Yeah.
So a lot of women who like you were saying, a lot of women will believe what we're saying right now, but because it's not popular, they'll dumb themselves down to be these other types of women so that they can fit in.
Yeah.
Feminism, the one thing that turns me off about feminism, they don't want to talk about the women who like being in the kitchen.
Yeah.
And there were a lot of women that like being in the kitchen. You know, it's like I read not too long ago that when women have the right to vote, when that whole thing came up about women voting, men gave women the right to vote, that most women didn't want the right.
Yeah.
And I found that very interesting because you are always told that we finally fought this war.
Yeah.
We got the right. But the truth is that a lot of women, the majority of women didn't want the right to vote. The reason why was because they felt that if they had the right to vote, they'd have to go to work, and then they'd also have to follow, they'd have to sign up for the draft.
Yeah.
And they didn't want to fight wars.
Yeah.
And they felt that if they had the right to vote, all of that would come along.
So it's interesting. It's interesting how I feel like feminists sometimes cherry pick the things that they're willing to be feminists for. You know what I mean? Like, and then when something comes along, like what you're saying with the draft and all that, it's like, no, what do you mean? We're all equal, right? We're all supposed to be. No, we're not. It's like last week we said someone gave us a comment about, or said to talk about I'm trying to make sure I'm saying this right. I feel like every time I see this word, I'm like, am I saying this right? Misandry. Anyway, so let me just say the definition of what this is, and then we'll just move on from that. Okay. So misandry is the dislike of, contempt for, or ingrained prejudice against men. Okay. So basically it's loosely saying this word hatred, but it's kind of like the hatred of men. Basically. And I watched a video on this, a woman talking about this, and they were saying that misogyny would be the kind of like the hatred of women, the putting down of women. That's what misogyny would be, and this would be like the for women.
Yeah.
Or would it be for men? So yeah. So and someone said when we talked about that they think that there's like an attack on like men, and I think there is a attack on kind of men, but more than that, I think it's an attack on masculinity is what I'm thinking. That's more of what's going on right now. The things that men do that are more primal, natural to them is being looked at as misogynistic, and I don't think. You know what I mean? Like, and I know there's misogynistic men out there, so don't get me wrong there, but I think some of the things that men are doing is something that men do naturally. And I think that a lot of them are being attacked for that. It's the same thing we're saying before, like with women. There's some things that women do that are natural that annoy people, annoy men, right? Like the emotional part. That is something that's natural for us. So... but it annoys men because that means you have to deal with that emotional woman, right? So that would be natural, but I do think there's some type of agenda against masculinity.
Well, I think that I feel like the women that have the biggest, the women who get the big platforms to talk about, men, misogyny and all those are women who have been abused by men in some sort of way. So they've been raped or molested or something like that. And not that I was a woman that was raped. So, but not that I I'm not saying I want to take their voice away. But what I'll say is that you have to consider the source, and I don't think we should be taking information from women who have been damaged by men taking that as if this is how men are. Because
I mean in the opposite way too.
Right. So I feel like what happens is we get a lot of women who have been abused by men who, like I said, they get abused by men, and then when they get the microphone, they want to talk about the damaging issues of what they call toxic masculinity. And I just don't think that's fair for a woman like that to have a voice to talk about something in a healthy way. Yeah, because that she's not in a healthy frame of mind.
Right, a broken woman that speaks on something like that
should not
she's speaking from that place.
That person needs a therapist. They don't need a microphone. It's like you're talking about men in an umbrella, like they're all the same. Just because you met one that was or maybe met a few that were like jerks or not really good to you, But I find that women like that always, like people like Oprah. Oprah was molested. But she gets this big microphone all the time because she's who she is. But it's always women like that who get abused in some sort of way, and they get to determine if men are toxic or not. And I don't like that because you're not in a position to talk about men in a healthy way. And if you're not going to talk about men in a healthy way, as well as the bad, the hurtful way, then I don't really think you're making a very just point.
Yeah, because when you're talking from brokenness,
Yeah,
you're talking from a place of brokenness, and you're speaking against, the opposite sex in that broken spirit. You should not get a microphone. You should not talk. You should honestly sit back and reflect.
yeah.
You know what I mean, on your whole life. But what happens is they don't do that. Like what you're saying, everybody gets a microphone. They're something happened with men in their life. It could be a plethora of things that have happened, and they come out and they talk against men. And I think that that's just not fair. I think that's not fair to jump right to men are awful. Men are out to get you. They just want to push you back in the 50s. And they just, I'm like, no, I think that what they're doing is more of a primal thing. A lot of men. I think that a lot of women who are broken are not wanting to just say that I'm broken. Instead, they're doing this acting out, lashing out, speaking out, and getting mad at men instead of just taking a step back and trying to reflect on their life and their problems and the things that have happened. I think that if a lot of women would do that first, then they wouldn't jump to this type of behavior.
I think that most people need help.
You're right.
I do, especially like these days. I think that a lot of people are a little lost, men and women. I think it's like there's a sort of I don't know who I am. But the worst part about today, more so than yesterday, is yesteryear, is because now we all have these platforms, and broken people can now project publicly
and just say whatever they want to say.
What they do is they find other people that feel like them, or maybe not feel as bad as them, but can understand them, and then they have whole platforms and whole movements based on hating women and hating men. You know what I mean? And it's just a negative sort of. It's just like a negative sort of thing. And I think most people, if they had real help, then they would see that their platforms are ridiculous.
And then you could speak on, if you get help and figure out your problems, and then you can come out and speak, get that all fixed. And then talk about your experiences in life, but it'll be more healthy. It'll come out more healthy.
Most people are basically mad at someone, whether it be a parent or a relationship, so much because they felt something, and I always feel like when people are really upset at someone, it's because they love them so much. And that person just either didn't love them back or didn't love them back properly. And then they take that situation. They think just everybody that has the same gender as that person is exactly like that. You know what I mean? And that I've been there. I mean, like I said, I've been raped, and I did feel that way. There was times when there was a time, because I also was raised with my father. So there was a times when I used to think men just didn't like me.
Yeah, I thought. Yeah,
I just thought they didn't.
In
like
my
me.
younger years,
that's what happens.
I really did think that.
Like men in your life that are, when you're not raised with men who are real men. Yeah. And I wasn't. You know what I mean?
You walk around and I don't know if I would say the word that I was feeling was like contempt for men, but I definitely just didn't trust
them.
Yeah, I just didn't trust them. I did not like them. I just didn't understand. Like I feel like I grouped them all together as being one type of
or if you're not a certain type of woman, you got to get a handle because it's men can turn into you know what I mean? That's just it. But that's what happens when you don't have a father. That's what happens when you aren't raised around men who are real men. This is what happens when you've been raped or something like that happens, that you just, the world reflects how you think. So a lot of what we project in the way we feel inside, we attract. So that was just what was happening. It's that I didn't have a comfortable feeling about myself with men. And so I was attracting bad ones.
Yeah. Right.
And I think this happens to men too. I think that there are a lot of men who are not raised with healthy male role models in their life, or even healthy female
bad
women, and then they attract a certain type of woman, and then they just think all women are like that.
And it's just not
because
true.
In a weird way, when you aren't a healthy person, you are actually attracted to bad people. Men too. They actually are attracted to bad girls, and they don't think so.
Yeah, they don't know.
Think they just think all women are like that. But no, you're actually kind of attracted to a woman that you may not even realize that you are attracted to. You're attracted to a type of woman. You know what I mean? And I know it was for me too. You know, there was a type of man that even though I knew that they were hurtful and rude, I just could not. I had for a long time. I had a hard time letting those types of men go.
Yeah, it's kind of a twisted sense of like it's like a warped sense of healthy.
Yeah,
it's like you because you don't know what it looks like.
Yeah,
so you walk around in life trying to find that right, and then you don't. So you're not. It's funny because when you don't know who you are and what you're doing and where you're going or how you're feeling, you don't fix any of your past problems. You do kind of walk around aimlessly.
Yeah.
And you invite the wrong people in.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Without, like it becomes
in a way you really do kind of date your parents.
You
know what I mean?
You do.
You know what I mean? That's why when people are married, it is so important that you show, because kids don't really hear what you say as much as they watch you. You know what I mean? It's really important that you show your kids what marriage is, the good and bad. You know what I mean? The making up, and even if there happens to be a fight, show them what it means to make up and things like that. So when they go out there and meet, they'll meet someone that's in a healthy way. But the reason why I talk about the single mother rate in the Black community is because that's a death trap for our community. Because when you're looking at a community that has a single mother rate that's pushing almost 80%, it makes a lot of sense that the Black community would have a hard time with families.
It brings up a lot of anger in women.
There's a lot of brokenness, and that's a big number. And so, if that big number, we've got a lot of boys being raised by women and with no male role model. And if they do get one, they got some man that's coming in and out of their mother's life, or not marrying them, or maybe being abusive, and they have a. Through watching their mother, sometimes they can think this is how women are. Yeah. You know what I mean? And same thing with little girls that are raised without their fathers. You know what I mean? All they have is this woman that they see, that they even if she's a good mother, but if they don't get to see a family and they don't get to see that, you know what I mean, play out, then what we do is we start finding, like Danielle said, we start looking for ways to heal through who we're dating. So we don't know what it looks like, so we just try to make it up. Yeah, this is what a man should be. Yeah, and then when you're not connecting the dots when you're dating or seeing or dealing with the same type of man every time, you're not connecting the dots that you didn't fix something. There's a disconnect there. And so you just keep getting into these bad, relationships. And then what happens is with a lot of women, they just start to hate men. Yeah. Because this is the progression of not fixing your problems. Yeah. And marriage is that the progression of not fixing your problems will 100% inevitably lead to the hatred of men. You will not like them because you're not getting that you're choosing the wrong men based on a problem that you had in the past that you have not resolved. And so because you're not connecting that dot and not getting that help and not understanding where the anger is coming from, you push the anger out on the person who hurt you the most. And with a lot of women who didn't have fathers or have had any sexual assault situations or anything, your initial reaction to that would be to lash out at the person, the type of person that is, and usually it's men. And marriage isn't always the answer to the problem either, because a lot of people think, if you get married, you won. No, we got people in our family that got married and they're divorced. Within the last 5 years, they've only been married less than 5 years. You know what I mean? And I was watching the other day where I just happened to watch a roast, and Zsa Zsa Gabor was being roasted, and then I looked her up, and she's been married 9 times. And so this is what I'm saying, marriage isn't always the answer either. Sometimes I think to myself, what was going on in her life that she would have 9 husbands. This isn't an unattractive woman, you know what I mean? And she was successful in her own right. She was an actress and things like that. But why would anyone get married 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times like that? You know what I mean? And this is not unusual. There are a lot of people that get married 2, 3, 4 times. You know what I mean? Because people think that if they get married, then they're not alone and that someone loves them, but that's just not true. You know what I mean? And so you have to kind of resolve your issues before you. Because I agree with marriage. I believe in that. But I also believe that marriage isn't what's going to heal you just because you get someone. Right. You can get a divorce, and the divorce rate couldn't be higher. So I do think that there is a lot of misconception, I guess, because of what marriage is. There is a reason why in the vows they say for better, for worse, for richer, for poor, for till death do us part, because bad is coming.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
You have to know how
For
to
sickness
handle
and
that.
health, someone's going to get sick.
Mm-hmm.
That's coming. And if you, when you say those vows, really think about what you're saying. And a lot of people don't. They get married 3 years later, they're divorced because of money.
Oh, I thought she would change. Oh, I thought he
Yeah.
would change. I'm like, no, but before, you know, I'm no one's marriage counselor here. I do think that there are, just as a human being, there are signs before,
Mm-hmm.
and people don't take these signs seriously, and so then they get involved.
Yeah.
Then the involvement of this, they get together, and then they get married, and the whole thing happens, and then they're unhappy because they didn't resolve what happened before, you know, and then everyone's mad. And now everybody's mad. You know, I hate women, I hate men. Then here we go. I'm like, no, before you jump to that conclusion, you really should have paid attention to what you did before. You won't feel this way about the opposite sex if you just have self-awareness. I think people won't hate like that if they just have that. But people don't want to look at themselves. You know, they want to blame. People like to post blame very fast on others before they do it on themselves. I just choose to take responsibility for my feelings towards men, especially in my past when I didn't understand them. And then, you know, and then it's not like it's a miracle. You know, it's not a miracle that all of a sudden I started meeting better men and it's only because I just started to understand why I, you know, felt that way before, and then I left that and then moved on. But people don't do that, like to blame. They like to still be mad. All right, so yeah, just let us know what you guys think about that. Is this a thing? Or you guys think that men are, it's like an attack on men at this point? Leave us the comments below. Let us know what you think. That's it. We will see you guys later on this week. All right, bye. You did too. You did too.